The Magic Show is brought to you by StarCityGames.com, and check this out. This weekend, the StarCityGames.com Open Series comes to Dallas-Fort Worth, and this event is going to be huge. We're talking hundreds of players, over $14,000 in cash prizes, at least 18 players qualified for their choice of either StarCityGames.com invitationals. Live coverage all day courtesy of SCG Live, tons of side events, and as much Magic the Gathering as we can pack into one weekend. So make plans to join StarCityGames.com in Dallas-Fort Worth, and we'll see you there.
This is Tom Martell, and this is The Magic Show.
Hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of The Magic Show. As you can see this week, we're at it again, switching things up in what I feel will bridge the gap between the old and the new. You ready for this, Jelly? Let's go. So this week, Wizards once again continues the running joke of not telling us Phyrexia won the war by showing us both the Mirrored and Pure and new Phyrexia packaging. Now look, we get it. We understand that you had a plan of not letting us know who won, letting players battle it out at game day and in leagues and all kinds of neat stuff. But we've all chosen a side, we've already seen the clash, and we're ready for some closure already. You know when they really jumped the shark? By announcing Innistrad, the new block for this fall. And don't get me wrong, Innistrad looks friggin' sweet. I mean, look at Liliana there looking all badass in her big throne room. Is it finally time for a 4-mana black planeswalker that doesn't suck? And don't tell me Tezzeret is it, because he's not. No, I say this because Innistrad will also see the removal of Jace the Mind Sculptor from Standard. 2 ridiculous 4-mana planeswalkers is not something we need in Standard, but allowing Liliana to finally shine after her first iteration is so awful would be nice. RESPMTG, you know what I'm saying? Now, a few notes about this announcement. Firstly, did they really have the Arcana number be 666? That is not a coincidence, folks. Also, nice throne, Liliana, as it appears that is also the expansion symbol. I can dig it. It appears this will be a horror or perhaps a gothic block as emo kids all around the world cut themselves gleefully as they finally got their Magic set. We'll see. So here we are, knowing what's coming in the summer, and here we are knowing what's coming in the fall, and we know Liliana Vess is going to be awesome in Innistrad, but we don't know what's coming in a few months? Nobody knows outside of WotC? Hell, best we can tell the actual pre-release cases will come labeled Action instead of whatever the actual name the set is. Look, I love it when you switch things up, Wizards, I really do, and sometimes Wizards wears out its welcome, and I think it's happening right now. The set is new Phyrexia. You ready to know why? Here we go. You see, Mirrodin is like Star Wars A New Hope. Now, in the beginning, there was Mirrodin. It was shining, it was cool, and was ready for action. As the affinity for the force of artifacts was developed, soon it became overpowered and all hell broke loose. Then we left the plane and came back 6 years later. It's now time for Empire Strikes Back. The Phyrexians are winning and will continue to win because that's what the whole film is about. Defeat for the good guys and bad guys relishing in their victories. And in 6 years, or whenever WotC wants to get around to wrapping all this up, we'll come back and Mirrodin will be awful. The Phyrexians will have sucked all the life out of its thin metal shell, and Karn will be redeemed in some fashion, coming back more badass than ever. He'll wreck Phyrexian tail and all will be right again in the world. Return of Karn will happen then, and it will be awesome. Speaking of summer products, have you seen the new graphic for Duels of the Planeswalkers 2012? Now, this obviously coincides with Magic 2012, as Wizards realize Duels of the Planeswalkers is now a product they can continually revamp as they do all other Magic products. That said, this image basically infers that these are the 5 Planeswalkers that they're featuring in M12. So there's Garruk Wildspeaker, Chandra Naylar, I see Jason Beleren, and there's Sorin Markov and Gideon Jura. Sweet! Now, this is exciting for 2 reasons. One, Liliana Vess and Ajani Goldmane were terrible. Yes, Ajani Goldmane got to the finals of Pro Tour Kyoto with black-white tokens. That was 2 years ago. Okay? That was back during the days of 3 Dudes Seriously and Kitchen Finks. The world has changed, and Ajani is still the same. As for Liliana, she's always been underwhelming on tournament tables and played in very few decks with disappointing results. The second reason is that we're hoping for new Planeswalker abilities. And I'm not just talking about Sorin and Gideon here, I'm hoping for all of them. That would be a totally awesome way to get people excited about M12, and it would also help make the Vampire Planeswalker more appealing if he actually, could be played in the Vampire deck. Right now, 6 mana, a little too much. Also, look at Gideon. A 0 ability that prevents damage to him and makes him a creature? This seems pretty complicated for a core set planeswalker, so I expect a new version of him as well. Since the world is waking up again to how awesome Gideon is, a different version that can legend rule the old one off the table would be nice. Welcome to our first edition of Open Series Update as we go over the plays and players of the past weekend. Now, last weekend, the Memphis Open began on Saturday with 355 players taken down by Joey Mispiguel's Valakut list. You'll see the list on your screen, and congrats to our champion. As you can see, the interesting thing I feel about this list is to Koth of the Hammer. Koth has been less of a force recently, with many opting for Hero of Oxid Ridge instead. But as the results have shown, both in Edison, where Patrick Sullivan reigned supreme with 4 in his red deck wins, and here with Joey's list, Koth is not to be underestimated. Moving on to Legacy, on Sunday, 137 battled and 1 stood alone. Alex Bertoncini. Yes, he was back on track with his trusty fish friends, and they did not disappoint. Known for playing the same deck and formats until they rotate, this one never rotates, and Alex certainly knows his way around the deck, working through the field in short fashion. Also, Alex is now the first player to ever reach level 6 in the StarCityGames.com Players Club. Yes, that means at every open he gets free sleeves, he plays in both constructed opens for free, and he gets $100 just for showing up. Pretty sick. But the story of the weekend? Edgar Flores. The other Flores, as some have known him. Be careful touching him, you might burst into flames. This boy is so hot, let me explain to you just how hot. The kid arrives in Memphis and battles in a casino all night. Shows up the next day with no sleep, with blue-white Caw-Blade, and wrecks the tournament, obviously, taking second place. The next day he enters the Legacy Open with Team America, a format he has never played in his life, and gets second again. So in just 3 weeks, 4 tournaments, Edgar Flores is at level 5 in the StarCityGames.com Players Club. That's ridiculous, folks. That is unprecedented. To call it unprecedented is an understatement. The gauntlet has been thrown down, and Edgar Flores is out to make a name for himself. Suddenly going to Dallas-Fort Worth this weekend, boy, I wonder why, we have ourselves a brand new superstar. Expect to hear more from Edgar in the future. Now, invitational qualifiers are happening this weekend in Baltimore, Maryland, Vestal, New York, and Chester, Virginia. More information is available on StarCityGames.com/IQ. Now remember, you can have an invitational qualifier at your store. Just have your store owner contact Star City Games via the email you see on your screen, and we'll take care of the rest. So in this week's Metagame Shift, we look at the best decks in the format. Caw-Blade and its blue-white, Esper, and red variants continue to dominate as Stoneforge Mystic and Squadron Hawk continue to be the best 2 cards in the standard format. Right behind it is Valakut, featuring the M11 monster Primeval Titan and a whole lot of fetching going on, which just won at Memphis and is certain to be in Dallas in numbers. Boros, our resident aggro deck, sits alongside red deck wins as the premier ways to beat face. Kuldotha Red used to be a factor, but its lack of reach, along with incredible splash damage courtesy of Slagstorm and Pyroclasm making their way into a lot more main decks and sideboards, that's not the deck you want to be playing right now. What are the mirror breakers you should be running? Well, for Congo, it appears to be going Esper and using Inquisition of Kozilek. It is the premier discard of the format, forcing players to discard both Stoneforge Mystic and Sword of Feast and Famine. While it doesn't hit Jace, it hits everything else, and if you're playing black, I'd be packing 4 of them. While I don't have tech for Valakut, the Boros Sig tech is certainly Kemba Caw region. A threat on its own, it's lightning bolt proof and must be dealt with immediately. A single piece of equipment and here comes the kitty cat parade. Now, Patrick Chapin this week debuted an innovative Jund build, packing cards like Mimic Vat, Sign and Blood, and Phyrexian Rager. Along with the power of Grave Titan and its own Swords of Feast and Famine, this deck could make an appearance this weekend. Meanwhile, don't count out Rug, as Lotus Cobra and Jace are best buddies and do all sorts of crazy stuff together. But that said, it is now time for an episode of MTG Theater.
Friends, thank you so much for coming. The evening is enchanting tonight, isn't it?
What the hell, Soren? Get on with it. I'm busy, man.
Patience, my upset brother. This night is especially enticing as...
Cut it out, Sarkin.
I like ham.
That's great, Garuk. Please continue, Soren.
Certainly. Tonight's meeting is regarding our brother, Gideon.
Who cares about Gideon? I sure as hell don't.
Good evening, Gideon.
Woo, yeah!
Oh my god. Not him again.
That's what I'm talking about. High five!
I'm going to choke him.
Whoa, my man, Sarkin El Loco. You look pissed, bro. You need to chill out. You see my last match? Oh man, that Battlesphere hit, I was like, pow! And then I was all like, Day of Judgment, brah. And he was all like, guess I got nothing. And then I'm all like, let's see what's on top of that library. And he was all like,
Jace, no one cares about your stupid stories.
psh, I got plenty of people listening. So then, with the powers of my mind,
Yeah, that tastes good.
brilliant, G, that's awesome. I'll sculpt you a sandwich here in a bit, if the waitress would just show up.
Mr. Belaren, if you would kindly take a moment, our brother Gideon has lost the war for his people.
What? Like, really? Spaghetti Butt got there?
If you don't mind, I prefer the Great Lord Emrakul get a little more respect than the name Spaghetti.
But
If you were facing down the Great Lord Emrakul,
I'd bounce idiots like that, dude. You just, like, die to them.
you are an uncivilized cretin.
Nah, bro. I just don't care. Who's up for a little drank sculpting back in my place? Woo! Let's go, ladies.
My brother, we are sorry for your loss.
Okay, so that was the first ever MTG Theater. Fun stuff. I hope you guys liked it. I'm curious what you think about it. I hope you can tell that things are always a-changing around here, so I work my way through these kinks and whatnot, and I'll see you here next week. Until next time, Magic players, this is Evan Irwin, tapping the cards so you don't have to.
I always like the fatties.